Esther was taken into the royal harem, surrounded by luxury, yet far from home. She kept her Jewish identity a secret, just as Mordecai instructed. She was kind, gentle, and full of grace. And soon she found favor with everyone, including Haggai, the king's chief eunuch. He provided her with the best beauty treatments, the finest food, and a special place in the palace. But beauty alone was not what set Esther apart. It was her heart. When Esther finally met King Xerxes, something unexpected happened. The king was captivated, not just by her outward beauty, but by her presence, her humility, and her grace. And in a moment that shocked the entire empire, Esther was crowned Queen of Persia. But even as she wore the crown, she kept the truth hidden. She was a Jew. Outside the palace, Mordecai continued to watch over Esther from a distance. One day, while sitting at the gate, he overheard two palace guards plotting to assassinate King Xerxes. Mordecai quickly informed Esther, and she warned the king, giving credit to Mordecai. The guards were arrested, and the event was recorded in the royal chronicles. What seemed like a small, forgotten detail would later become the key to saving an entire nation. But the danger that followed was far greater. A powerful noble named Haman rose to prominence. He was wealthy, influential, and dangerously arrogant. Everyone bowed to him, everyone except Mordecai. Mordecai refused because he would not bow to any man except God. Haman's pride ignited into rage. He didn't want revenge only on Mordecai. He wanted to destroy every Jew in the empire. And so, through manipulation and deception, Haman convinced King Xerxes to sign a decree ordering the annihilation of the Jews on a specific day, chosen by casting lots, which the Persians called Purim. When the decree spread through the empire, the Jewish people mourned in terror. Mordecai tore his clothes, wore sackcloth, and wept at the palace gates. The people were helpless. The law of the Medes and Persians could not be reversed. There seemed to be no hope, unless the queen intervened. When Esther learned of the decree, she was heartbroken. But she also knew something that few understood. Approaching the king without being summoned was illegal and punishable by death. Even the queen was not exempt. If the king did not extend his golden scepter, she would be executed instantly. Esther was trapped between fear and destiny. Mordecai sent her a message that would become one of the most powerful lines in the Bible. Who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? These words shook Esther's heart. She realized that her crown was not an accident. Her position was not luck. She had been placed in the palace for this exact moment. Esther made a bold decision. She sent a message to Mordecai. Go gather all the Jews. Fast for me for 3 days. My maids and I will fast as well. And then I will go to the king. If I perish, I perish. Her courage did not come from strength, but from faith. After 3 days of fasting, Esther put on her royal robes. Her steps were slow, her heart pounding, but her resolve unshakable. She walked toward the throne room where King Xerxes sat in majesty. Every eye watched, every breath paused. The king looked up, saw Esther, and slowly lifted his golden scepter toward her. Esther lived, The king asked her gently, "What is it, Queen Esther?" "Even up to half the kingdom, it will be given to you." But Esther didn't rush. She invited the king and Haman to a banquet. At the first banquet, she remained calm, patient, wise. She requested a second banquet the next day. Confused but intrigued, the king and Haman agreed. But the night before the second banquet, something remarkable happened. King Xerxes found himself unable to sleep. He ordered the royal chronicles to be read to him, records of past events, victories, and palace affairs. And what did the servants read? The story of Mordecai uncovering the assassination plot. The king realized something shocking. Mordecai had never been honored for saving his life. Just then, Haman entered the courtyard, planning to ask the king for permission to hang Mordecai. But before he could speak, the king asked him, "What should be done for the man the king wants to honor?" Haman, blinded by pride, thought the king meant him. So he suggested royal robes, a parade, and public honor. The king smiled and ordered, "Do everything you said for Mordecai the Jew." Haman's heart shattered. Forced to honor the man he hated most, he realized his downfall had already begun. The next day, at Esther's second banquet, the king repeated his question. "What is your request, Queen Esther?" "It will be granted." With courage burning in her voice, Esther spoke. "My king, if I have found favor in your sight, spare my life, and spare the lives of my people, for we have been sold to destruction." The king was shocked. Who would dare do such a thing? He demanded. Esther turned toward Haman. "This wicked enemy is Haman." The room froze. Haman trembled in fear. The king's rage erupted, and he ordered Haman to be executed, ironically, on the very gallows Haman had prepared for Mordecai. With Haman gone, the king gave Esther and Mordecai authority to write a new decree. Though the original law could not be reversed, the Jews were granted the right to defend themselves. When the appointed day arrived, the Jewish people triumphed over their enemies. What was meant for destruction became a day of victory. This deliverance gave birth to the Jewish festival, Purim, a celebration of God's protection, timing, and faithfulness.